welcome to this update video. I hope you are doing really great. So we're going to be talking about what is going on in the tropics. So we've got a couple areas to watch. We have Tropical Storm Francine. So previously known potential Tropical Cyclone 6 became Tropical Storm Francine yesterday, and it is expected to become a hurricane today. So it could actually make landfall as a Category 2 hurricane along the Gulf Coast, particularly for Louisiana, where there's also a hurricane warning in effect. So we're going to be looking at all of that. And there are two other disturbances out there, one in orange, one in red. So this area this time yesterday was at 70%. Now it's down to 40%. So there is some dry air enveloping the system. And there is that other area just behind it that has a high chance of development, though models favor that one to develop and actually show the system making its way out to sea and not being much of a bother for the Caribbean. So we're going to be looking at that. So let's get straight into the details. Now, first things first, we are taking a look at this graphic here. So this is a plot of the surface. It's a surface chart, and we can see the axes of the tropical waves, and there you have that tropical storm symbol for Francine. Now, a tropical wave is moving across the central Caribbean, so that should help to enhance the rain for areas today such as Jamaica. Another one is approaching the Caribbean islands, and we can see a couple of low pressure systems as well. So those two are associated with the two disturbances out there, and there's that new tropical wave off of Africa. Now, as this tropical wave propagates to the west and eventually interacts with this first area of low pressure, that may actually allow it, or boost it rather, to develop into something. So models have been pretty consistent about the development of that second area. So going on to the graphic from the National Hurricane Center, here we can see 70% chance of formation over the course of the next 7 days, and for that other system, a 40% chance of formation. So that may just remain as an airflow pressure that drifts to the west, and it could near the northeastern Caribbean islands, and if it is sustaining enough activity, then it could definitely enhance the rain. But of course, Francine is kind of going to be the main talk of the video since it is a threat to land. So we'll go on to it in a bit more detail shortly. But looking at the satellite imagery here, we can see all our systems. There's Francine in the Gulf and that frontal system offshore the U.S. We can also see a bit of activity in parts of the Caribbean and in the main development region. So zooming into the Caribbean, we can see these showers and thunderstorms popping up associated with that tropical wave, as I had mentioned. Another one is approaching the Lesser Antilles. So there could be some additional showers and thunderstorms as we head throughout today. Speaking of, let's go on to the rainfall forecast from Euro, and here we can see it. So for parts of Jamaica, Cuba, and even Hispaniola, especially towards Haiti, there could be some heavy downpours in a few spots today with some thunderstorm activity. But for the the Cayman Islands, rather much not expected. ABC Islands likely to be on the drier side as well. Going to Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and throughout most of the Lesser Antilles, there's likely to be some downpours today. Similar thing for parts of northern Guyana, as well as Venezuela and sections of Colombia. Central America will likely be active all the way from Panama through Mexico, including the offshore islands, San Andres, Providencia, and even going to the Bay Islands of Honduras and the Keys, offshore Belize. Up to the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. For the northern Bahamas, there could be some downpours. Same thing for Florida. We can see those colorful shadings around there. But then as we head further south, you can see that it's likely to get a bit drier with maybe just a stray shower or so as we head into later today. Heading on to Francine. So this is a look at Francine right now, a closer view of the tropical storm in the Gulf. Now it is experiencing a little bit of shearing, so the upper level winds are kind of interfering with the organization of the system, but nonetheless it is expected to become a hurricane later today. So we can see that massive blob associated with it, and all this activity is going to be moving in to the Gulf Coast as we head into tomorrow. So let's go ahead and talk more about it. Going on to the National Hurricane Center's cone forecast, here we can see it, and that mustard shading is representative of the extent of tropical storm force winds. So exactly that tropical storm conditions are occurring for parts of northeastern Mexico. We also see that blue highlight and the yellow highlight. The yellow highlight means that tropical storm conditions are possible. The blue highlight indicates a tropical storm warning where tropical storm conditions are likely taking place right now. And then for much of the Texas coast, we can see that yellow highlight. So as we're going to be heading into tomorrow, those tropical storm conditions will be possible, not guaranteed, but definitely possible. Likely some heavy rain, those very rough seas, winds kicking up as well, probably exceeding or up to 39 miles per hour at least. But then we see lots of colors going on for Louisiana. So we see much of the coast along that red shading, indicating a hurricane warning. So hurricane conditions are going to be likely, and even tropical storm conditions. So closer to where the center of the system is going to be moving is where those hurricane conditions will likely occur. And then at a bit more distance out, then those tropical storm conditions will be more likely. So winds may not be up to hurricane force, but definitely tropical storm force. So a lot of heavy rain is going to be moving in, those strong winds. There could even be that threat of tornadoes as well. And of course, with these systems, the major problem is always the water in terms of the flooding. So guys, please listen to your local officials and please do not take any unnecessary risks. But then as Francine is going to be accelerating inland, it is going to weaken. So as we head into the end of this week, it will likely become a post-tropical cyclone, maybe just in the vicinity of Arkansas, and as it heads further up to the north. But for right now, it is moving at just 5 miles per hour, so it's slow turn around. But as the day goes on, it should gradually pick up in its pace to the northwest. Now, going on to the disturbance out there, it is designated as Invest 92L. So it's being closely watched for any development, but as I had mentioned, it is being enveloped by some dry air. So as we look at the dry air map, we can see all these different colors around. We see the yellows, the oranges, the reds. That is all indicating the dry air. So it's not in a highly favorable environment right now. Hence the reason it's not really sustaining a whole lot of activity. But in terms of the model forecasts, we're looking at the track guidance here. We can see a general track to the west expected by most of these models. We see a couple of these want to take the system straight to the vicinity of the Northeast Caribbean. And in terms of development, we can see the intensity guidance here. So there are quite a bit of models not expecting much at all to become of the system, but we can see a decent amount of them are expecting that this could eventually become a tropical storm. So we'll definitely have to be watching this system over the coming days to see what it decides to do and how close it will be to the Caribbean. But intensity will matter a lot. So as I said, it is not in the most ideal conditions right now. And the formation chance has decreased because, as I said, yesterday it was at 70% early in the morning and now it's down to 40%. The other disturbance behind, though, that one has a formation chance of 70%. So only time will tell what's going to eventually happen with these systems, guys, but I'm here to keep you posted as per usual. So that is what is going on right now. That's what I wanted to share with you in this video. And I do hope you found it to be very informative. But if you do have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I have the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.